It's that time again. Time again for a gun review. Grab some water and some lentils. Sit down and relax. You may have seen this in my chronograph videos over the last couple of months. Today we have the FNS-9 Compact, or FNS-9C for short. This compact version of the standard FNS-9 sports a 3.6-inch barrel, a shorter grip that will surely get your concealed carry hearts pounding. As always, the box is a standard hard case with a removable blue rubber liner, free trigger lock, manual and fired case. It can be locked. The blue little rubber here is set up to accept various different pistol sizes, and you can just pull this stupid thing out of here if you were trying to put something else in here. It comes with 3 magazines, one already in the gun. Both the short versions are 12 round and then one 17 round with an extension. Magazines have the numbered indicators starting at 4 on them. Clearly marked caliber. There's a little magazine release tang. The 17 round magazine can be used in a full-size FNS-9. The little plastic spacer just slips on there. As far as loading the magazines go, I don't find really too much trouble getting all 12 rounds in this magazine. Obviously, if you're going to take a class, the magazine loader does help, but these springs are actually not too bad at all to get all 12 rounds in here. Oops, of course I say that and I do that, but so it's not too bad to get all 12 rounds in there. Both of my 12 round magazines have the pinky extensions. When you buy it new, you only get one pinky extension. Midwest Gunworks sells them for like $6 a pop, so I picked up another because I like the pinky extension better. Extra magazines for this are quite salty. They're around $45 to $50 depending on where you look. I haven't found too many on sale yet, which is kind of a downside. As far as dimensions go, it's 6.7 inches long. Overall height will depend on if you have a pinky extension, a flag extension, or the 17 round magazine, but it's 4.4 to the bottom of the back strap, 5 inches thereabouts including the pinky rest, or 5.5 if you include the 17 round magazine. Width, depending on where you measure again, the slide is 1.043 inches thick. If you measure at the widest point, which is right around the frame where the takedown lever is, it's 1.225 inches. Weight is 1 pound 5.2 ounces. It's 1 pound 14.1 ounce with 13 rounds of 147 grain Federal HST and the pinky extension. As far as trigger pull goes, they spec 5.5 to 7.7 pounds. It's labeled double action. Like a Glock, when the trigger is pulled and you release the trigger, the actual trigger shoe itself does not reset. It remains in the fired position until you rack the slide. This is like this on a Glock XDS. I know the M&Ps and the XDs, the trigger shoe will return to the unfired position, but obviously it does not reset the gun until the slide resets it. So as far as trigger pull goes, it's going to depend on where you put the gauge on this trigger. You go low, it's going to be low. You go high, it's going to be higher. We'll take a couple pulls here for an average. I now have a lineman digital gauge that goes up to 12 pounds. That time it was 6 pounds 3.4 ounces. £6 2.8 ounces. £7 1.5 ounces. for an average of 6 pounds, 7.9 ounces. So right within where they specify for trigger pull range. Would like to see it on the lot lower end scale though. As far as take up, break, and reset goes, it doesn't have a lot of take up. Obviously you've got the safety shoe on the trigger there, and that's just about all the take up. It's smooth right up until right there, a little gritty right there. And then that's where it gets pretty tough. There really is no over travel. Reset. Right there. Really loud, good tactile, audible click there for the reset. So it doesn't break the cleanest. I mean, it's supposed to be like double action. Trigger definitely could use some work. The FNS-9C is made in the USA, stainless steel slide, cold hammer forged stainless barrel, has replaceable steel frame rails. It is available with a manual safety, has an external extractor that has a painted red portion as a loaded chamber indicator. It has an ambidextrous slide stop, not slide release, on both sides there. And also ambidextrous magazine release. This particular style can be pushed in and out either way to release the magazine. You don't have to swap the side to side. We have front and rear angled cocking serrations on both sides. Has a 1913 Picatinny rail up front. Has replaceable back straps. It has a curved one currently installed, and there's also a flat version available. FN's website said they come with lanyard loops, but you can obviously see in the video there are no lanyard loops on those back straps. The checkering on the grip is very aggressive. This is kind of like what's on my 5.7. Maybe not as aggressive, but it still lets you know it's there with or without gloves. So you're going to have a hard time letting sweat get in the way of not getting a good grip on this gun. Good slide to frame gap, no noticeable pig nose. That's typically when you see the front or rear of the polymer frame droop up or down and you get an uneven gap along there. My FNP45 Tactical has a little bit of that. It has low profile 3-dot sights, good snag free design. Mine has the night sight versions, front and rear are green. They're not the brightest in the world, but they get the job done. Most of what I've read online says these are made by Trigicon. Some are labeled as such, some are not. Mine are not. Has a low profile takedown lever. As far as field stripping goes, it's pretty much just like your XD or your M&P. You'll pull the slide back, lock the slide stop, rotate the takedown lever down. You let the slide go forward. Now what I've noticed on mine is the slide will want to come forward 1/4 inch, and it won't let you pull the trigger, and the slide won't come off the frame. So I have to push it back to here, pull the trigger, then the slide will come off. Here's the inside of the frame of the gun. Here's your front and rear rails. This little guy right here is the disconnector cam. I think you could use a little polishing. It seems to cause the slide to be a little sticky when you're trying to pull it back and take it off. As far as slide components goes, it has a dual captive recoil spring and it has a standard short recoil lock breech tilting barrel action. As far as chamber support goes, we've got really good chamber support even on this shorter compact barrel. There's just a little bit of unsupported chamber on the feed ramp, but that's pretty good. Now we can talk a little bit about performance. I've run a mixture of brass, aluminum, steel, plus P, and anything else that you've seen me chronograph through this gun without failure. I'll continue to evaluate it as I carry it, but I feel confident in FN's design. After all, they make pretty reliable firearms. I've been carrying it every chance I get. I've got a single clip Kydex inside the waistband holster that works rather nice. It came from Accurate Holsters. It's just a simple design that has retention adjustment that lends itself to the compact nature of the FNS-9C. They offer a variety of colors and options to fit various guns. I'll leave their link in the description below. Now comes the ever important likes and dislikes. Sometimes for me, it's hard to find negatives in things you purchased, but the gun is not without criticism. I like the size, it's got a great grip, it shoots well, both-handed, single-handed, weak hand, strong hand. I like the trigger. I'm actually preferring the mechanics of how it feels over my M&P, but I still like my 5.7 single action better. Capacity is definitely a plus. I like being able to use full magazines. Fit and finish is on par with the FN name. It runs everything I put through it. Price, I've seen your typical local gun store sell them for $5.99 without night sights, even more in some cases. Most places online will have these for a lot less. I picked this up from Florida Gun Classifieds. Matt over there lives and breathes FN products. He typically has the night sights listed well under what most local gun stores will sell them for. He also sells holsters and other accessories on his site. If you're into FN products, he's working on a page where you can order complete gun packages with ammo and accessories. I'll put his link in the description below as well. Now, for some ample criticism. The magazine released was designed to be low drag. It's actually thinner than the FNS-9. With my smaller hands, it's not easy to operate. I find to get good manipulation, I actually have to shift my trigger finger to use it. So I find that because of how thin it is, my smaller hands can't press the release, so I'll move either my trigger finger or my middle finger to hit the other side, and that seems to work pretty good. Sometimes I can get it, but trigger pull weight. I think manufacturers just need to give in and start making 4 to 6 pound triggers. This 5 to 7.5 with upwards of being 7 or 8 is just too heavy. Magazine cost definitely negative. $44 is way too much. I'm not really sold on how the magazine catch release works. It's been a topic of discussion before on various FN models in the FN forum. It seems to work, but the typical notch in the mag for a release seems to work better in my opinion. Parts availability. Both aftermarket and OE parts are not that plentiful. The full-size FNS mag release works in the 9C, and I've been trying to source it for over a month to no avail. Nothing aftermarket that I can find for parts really. Definitely not knocking up Glock store in that department anytime soon. No threaded barrel option yet. I hear grumblings that EFK is going to make one, and I welcome that. I've read the full-size FNS barrel will not work in the 9C due to the different cam angles. To close, I think the FNS series guns are well underrated. They pack great quality that comes with the FN brand. They're reliable, priced very competitively with other striker-fired polymer guns in the category, and who knows, maybe we'll see some more aftermarket support in the future. Thanks again for watching everybody, and until the next review, take it easy.